Vegito, the goat who single-handedly made a generation of kids witness a beatdown of a lifetime. Absolutely demolishing Buhan with no difficulty, or so people say. Many people say he's the strongest in Z, with good reason of course, and people would even argue that even Super Saiyan God Goku wasn't as strong as a hypothetical Super Saiyan 3 Vegito, but that isn't the only Goku to compare to. Next, we have GT Goku, a character Vegito is much more commonly compared to, mostly due to GT Goku being around longer than his other post-Z counterparts. From 15 years in the future and wielding Super Saiyan 4, people either call him a master of martial arts or a fraud who lost his powers. But which of these two are stronger? Can 15 years of training, battles including universal dangerous threats, and new transformations truly increase Goku's power enough to defeat the ultimate fusion, excluding Gogeta? I will be going over the earliest, you can argue Goku surpasses Vegito, and the latest. And I will tell you, it's not a matter of if, only when. And at the end, I will tell you which I believe in. With that, let's get on to the video. Have you heard the term death of the author? Let me copy and paste the description for you, because last time I mentioned this, a lot of people got really angry because, well, Dragon Ball fans can't read. The death of the author is a literary theory that introduced by Roland Barthes in 1967, which argues that a text's meaning is not determined by the author's intentions or biography, but rather by the reader's interpretation. The perspective emphasizes that once a work is published, it becomes independent and open to various interpretations based on the individual's experiences. To cut this short, the author can be wrong, and I want to explain this in a way that you can all understand and respect. You remember when Toriyama revealed Yamoshi? That guy who literally never showed up in any Dragon Ball media? Or how about when he forgot about Super Saiyan 2 while designing Super Saiyan 3? Or what about when he said Goku wouldn't be using Super Saiyan 2 or 3 anymore in Dragon Ball Super? And then proceeded to do so in both continuities. Or how about Toriyama intending for Super Saiyan to be a 10 times multiplier, despite Goku using Kaioken times 20 just a few chapters before? Toriyama was not only forgetful, he made shit up on the spot even in the Daizenshu, which has multiple statements that contradict the show itself. With that in mind, please try to remember this video is for fun, and just because your opinion has more evidence, that it doesn't mean you're correct. Power scaling, especially in this franchise, is very subjective. Alright? Not one answer is correct most of the time. So, let's just have a friendly conversation down below if you disagree with me. And, yeah, I can't wait for the video telling me that I'm wrong, the response videos. Go ahead and make a response video of me if you want to. That'll be fun. Okay, so right off the bat, I'm going to bring up the earliest Goku could have surpassed Vegito. And look, I'm going to say it now, this argument requires maximum Goku overplay, okay? But since you can still make the argument, I am going to bring it up anyways. For the sake of the video. Just note that I'm not really a fan of this one, but there are people who do bring it up. Inside of Super Buu, Goku fights a Ghost Warrior Gohan. This Ghost Warrior is apparently just as strong as the original. And this is huge, because most of Buhan's power comes from Gohan. Meaning that as a Super Saiyan, Goku's able to defeat this Gohan before it revives itself. If you remember correctly, Super Vegito struggled against Buhan's Vice Shout, which nearly destroyed the universe. This would mean that, since Gohan makes up most of Super Buu's power, or I should say Buhan's power, Super Saiyan Goku should be comparable to Super Vegito, although he is below Super Vegito. And then after that, as a Super Saiyan 3, Goku fights Kid Buu, who is stated by the narrator himself to be above Buhan, in which Goku struggles because of stamina issues and Kid Buu's regeneration. So, with all of this added, there are people who think that this is where Goku surpasses Vegeta. Now, all of that is also anime only. However, GT is a sequel to Z, not the manga. So the anime actually has a saying over the manga when it comes to GT. However, as I said, this is maximum wankage. But if this is truly what you believe, then more power to you, I guess. I'll give my opinions at the end. And let's move on to the next section. But after the Buu Saga, we are still not in Dragon Ball GT, even though this is about GT Goku. Well, and Vegito, but regardless, we make it to the end of Z. 10 years after the Buu Saga, End of Z Goku has less evidence for being stronger than Vegito, but the evidence he does have is debatably a lot more compelling and, dare I might say, reasonable. Starting off, Goku starts fighting Oob, who starts powering up as his anger rises. Goku thinks that they might not be able to beat Oob, however, it needs to be noted that Goku and Vegeta are not able to transform into Super Saiyans. That means that Goku is fighting the reincarnation of Kid Buu, who Goku thinks could beat Majin Buu even as a child, in his base form. The fact he thinks Oob would beat Majin Buu, and he fights him in his base form pretty evenly, would imply Goku is at bare minimum as strong as his previous Super Saiyan 3 self. Goku getting 400 times stronger honestly isn't that much of a stretch, and it honestly might be a low ball, a downplay even. Really stop and think about the power creep of Dragon Ball. In the Saiyan Saga, Goku gets from a power level of around 500, because I don't remember the exact number, to 8,000. A power level jump of 16 times stronger in a few months of training. And then he proceeds to get over 10 times stronger from Earth to Namek in a single week. And then got a Zenkai boost of around 30 times. Meaning that in his base form alone, in the span of a year, Goku got 6,000 times stronger. And you mean to tell me it's a stretch for Goku to get 400 times stronger in 10 years? I know it's hard to believe, but when you look at the Carfax, the evidence is there. And if you think that Kid Buu is stronger than Buuhan, then in the GT timeline, Goku at the end of Z would just be stronger than Buuhan in his base form verbatim, who made Super Vegito struggle. There's also a statement stating that Toriyama could not imagine a character stronger than Goku. This would include Vegito, Gogeta, Broly, and even Arale, which means you could argue NZ Goku is actually stronger than Super Saiyan Blue Goku and Vegeta after the future arc. Maybe all those guys saying Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta solos the Angels are actually onto something after all. Now, as easy as it is to argue, it's just as easy to shoot down those arguments, especially if you're not a Zeta fan, which isn't very hard. If you say that Kid Buu isn't stronger than Buuhan, despite the many guides and literal narrators saying so, and then you say that Oob is not as strong as Kid Buu, there you go. Goku's not as strong as his previous Super Saiyan 3 self. There you go. Vegito is still stronger. You also then can ignore Toriyama's statement, as you could say that this is an example of death of the author, and we really can't say that you're wrong, because there's no evidence that Goku is stronger than Arale, which Toriyama would be implying by saying he couldn't think of anyone stronger than Goku, because he made Arale. I mean, if you really want to go out there outerversally, this would include other characters in fiction, but that's a really big stretch there, buddy. I wouldn't, I don't think that's gonna hold up in power scaling court. Okay, so we're finally at the beginning of GT. Finally. From this point onward, we will be assuming that Kid Buu is weaker than Buuhan, as if you think otherwise, then Goku would have flicked Super Saiyan 3 Vegito in base form at this point. So, we don't have much to work off. Goku fights Oob, and that's about it. It's not a lot to work off of, but we can make arguments for his strength still. Right off the bat, Goku and Oob appear to be roughly even base to base. Considering this is the reincarnation of Oob, it's more than likely he is at least as strong as Kid Buu. However, it's never stated to be the case, so you can just say no, and the GT fan can't tell you you're wrong. However, considering Goku fought Oob, who Goku also thought could beat Majin Buu previously, and Goku was able to keep up with this Oob 5 years ago, it's kind of hard to imagine Goku hasn't gotten stronger, and thus Oob would be stronger by proxy due to how Dragon Ball power scaling works. And there are three ways I can personally see arguing Goku's strength. The first two ways to consider Goku's strength is just doing math. If Goku got 400 times stronger in 10 years, this is assuming you think he got 400 times stronger, then we can use that for the next 5 years. With this in mind, people speculate that Goku's either 600 times stronger than in Z, or 80,000 times stronger in base form, depending on how you do the math. The other way to consider this is narratively. Not only would it not make sense narratively for, at least in my opinion, for Oob to stop training, or stop his training if he wasn't at the Kid Buu level bare minimum, but by the time Goku has his first fight in every arc of Z, he has surpassed everyone from the previous arc. With that in mind, that would include Vegito and Buuhan. So, think about that. Of course, though, you can always say that this is the exception, and again, I can't tell you you're wrong. So, if you think base Vegito is over 80,000 times stronger than Goku, and then he skips the common narrative of Dragon Ball, then Vegito keeps going. But things are going to get more and more complicated as we go on. Okay, now for the infamous line. He's even stronger than Buu. This line is the key to so many arguments in the history of Dragon Ball GT power scale. Back in ye old days, when the GT haters were strong, they would say that this refers to good Buu, and that Goku at this point is only as strong as his previous Super Saiyan 3 self at best. However, this would not only be downplaying, but it would be hypocritical. If we use the same logic on Dabura, who was compared to Cell, then he would only be as strong as first form Cell before he absorbed humans. I think we all agree that this is not the case, and saying the same thing about Rildo would be wrong. Now, where there is a valid argument is if Goku's comparing himself to Buuhan or Kid Buu. As Goku did not personally fight Buuhan, however, ignoring the Kid Buu upscaling, I also personally think it makes sense that Goku is talking about Buuhan for reasons previously stated. But even if you think Rildo is indeed only Kid Buu level, Goku had a clear power and technical advantage. Not a completely overwhelmingly one, but he very clearly was ahead of Rildo. Only transforming once Rildo started to jump him, which, I mean, hey, fair enough, I'd transform too if I started getting jumped. I think it should be mentioned that the Sigma Force was comparable to Lord Lude as well, by Goku's own statement, who he had previously had to turn into a Super Saiyan and have Super Saiyan Trunks' help to survive. And Rildo is stronger than the Sigma Force, and yet base Goku is still above him. Meaning Goku could have easily gotten over 50 times stronger of a power increase from the start of GT, where he finished training with Oob, who could be argued to be at least Kid Buu level himself. So, if you think Kid Oob is Kid Buu level, Goku is likely stronger than Vegito base to base, and if you think Rildo is stronger than Buuhan, Goku is comparable to Super Vegito in his base form. Moving on to the baby Vegeta battles, I'd like to start off with GT Gohan. It's stated in the Daizenshu that GT Gohan never stopped training, meaning that Gohan should be at least as strong as his Buu Saga self as a Super Saiyan. However, the argument could also be made that Gohan is stacking his Super Saiyan 4 on top of his previous ultimate state, meaning that he's 50 times stronger than his Buu Saga self at bare minimum. In fact, as Buu is flying away from the battle, Gohan is confident in blasting Buu away in his base form. The reason I say this is because a baby-controlled Gohan and Goten fight Goku as Super Saiyans, and yet Goku blocked each of them with one hand each and knocked them out of their Super Saiyan forms in just a couple of punches and a Ki Blast, giving more evidence that he's above the high-tier Buu Saga levels. But this is less about Goku or Gohan, more about Baby and Vegeta's body. Goku goes Super Saiyan 3, being possibly hundreds of thousands of times stronger than Buuhan at this point, and yet he doesn't even draw blood against Baby, punching him as hard as he can, not even spit, even though Baby is only the equivalent of his Super Saiyan state. After this, when Baby turns to strongest form Baby 1, he says that he has obtained the greatest of Saiyan power. And Goku just straight up says that he's never felt a ki as powerful as his. Well, he says awesome as is, but awesome, powerful, interchangeable. Considering he just got done whooping Goku's ass in his previous form, and Goku would know the power of Vegito, this should unquestionably put strongest form 1 Baby Vegeta above Vegito, full stop, no matter how far you are downplaying Goku. Of course, as I previously stated, you could argue GT Goku surpassed Vegito much earlier, but that's aside the point. As I already know what the Vegito fanboys are going to state, because they are going to leave a comment before the video is over. Why SMDBZX? The guidebooks. The guidebooks actually shut the fuck up, commenter. I'm getting to it. Finish the damn video before commenting, you Cheeto stained bitch. Okay, let's wrap this all in a bow. Nice, short, sweet version where I think Vegito scales realistically. Super Vegito struggled against Buhan when unleashing his max power. Buu Saga Goku seems disingenuous, but Toriyama does say End of Z Goku is the strongest in his mind, and this would be especially true if you think Kid Buu is above Buhan in the GT timeline. Given that Toriyama is forgetful, though, fair enough. From there, if you truly think Goku and Oob did not surpass Buu in base, Goku at bare minimum surpasses Kid Buu in base by the time he fights Rildo, due to statements. And by the time we make it to the Baby Saga, Baby and Goku damn near flat out say that he's stronger than Vegito. Even if you took the data book comparing Super Saiyan 4 to Vegito guide, you have to really push it to say Vegito is actually stronger than Super Saiyan 4 Goku. And even then, due to the previously stated death of the author statement literature theory, someone could just tell you you're wrong and you really can't do anything about it because it doesn't specify. So, sorry about that. In my honest opinion, I think Kid Buu is stronger than Buhan just because the narrator said so. And the narrator is above all, even if I don't like it. But even ignoring that, 15 years of training is just far too much time to say Goku hadn't surpassed Vegito. But I would accept your opinion if you disagreed on that too. Fair enough. However, I think the latest I can accept Vegito is Rildo. As I've stated multiple times, Super Vegito struggled against Buhan's barrier. And in the same way the androids were compared to Frieza, the same way Dabura was compared to Cell, you wouldn't be talking about their weakest form, you'd be talking about their strongest. And thus, I think base GT Goku surpasses Super Vegito by the time of the Rildo arc. And thus, even in Super Saiyan 3, Vegito could not beat base GT Goku. But hey, that's just my opinion. I'll wait for the response cancel video.